financial aid. Some of you have. I'm sure of it. It's a big rumor. It's a big misconception because the federal formula doesn't ask about it. The institutional formula does ask about it. Okay? Now, when they do ask about your real estate, your home, how do they know, let's, be honest, how do they know, you're not lying? Do you think they send appraisers out to everybody's home who applies for financial aid? So how do they know you're not lying? What's to stop you from saying, hey, my home's no offense, a hovel, it's worth, $50,000. And meanwhile you live in a huge house on a lake. So what's to stop you? They're not going to come out to look at your home. The way they do it is they use a formula called the Housing Index Multiplier formula. They ask 4 questions. The value of the house, the debt on the house, the year you bought it, the price you paid for it. Okay? The first question, the value, not so much that important. Because what they're looking at is the last 2 questions. The year you bought it, the price you paid for it. What they do is you bought your house in 1990, you paid $100,000 for it. Every year it's gone up by a certain factor. Now, besides the last few years, we all know what happened in the real estate market in this area. It skyrocketed. I will show you an example later what happened, but 9 times out of 10, your value on the housing index multiplier will be significantly lower than the value of your house. Now, I'm not telling you to lie, all right, but this is how they determine the formula for your house. Now, I have it built into my computer. What should you use? Well, it's not the time to brag, all right? Because your neighbor just sold his house for $450,000 and you have an extra bathroom and then you just redid your kitchen, don't put $500 down, okay? Be conservative. What I tell people to do, once again, I'm not telling you to lie. I'm not telling you to, use, those tax cards you get. Use the assessed value, all right? It's a lot lower than your market value, all right? That's what I would use. And I will tell you this. Since I've been doing this, all right, and like I said, I filled out thousands of these forms. Not one time, never once, has a client of mine called me up and said, Mike, they're questioning the value of the house. So obviously I'm doing something right? Okay, moving on. Meeting a student's financial need. All right, when you choose schools, and I think school choice is a huge component of the money that you get. Listen, if you just, and I'm going to talk about this, if you just choose schools because, your son's girlfriend lives around there, because that does happen. Oh, my girlfriend lives, my girlfriend's going to school in that area, so I want to go to school. Or, hey, Penn State's got a good football team, so I want to go, it happens. I had a client, I don't know, I don't think they were at this seminar, so I can mention it. I'm pretty sure they weren't. The son had to go to a school that had club, I don't think there is a varsity sport, Frisbee golf club, okay? They're willing to go to University of Colorado, Boulder, spend about $40,000 a year just so the son can play Frisbee golf. Club for it has. Is that a reason to send your kid to college? And I'm going to talk about this, but what you need to do is this, okay? Some schools are better than others when it comes to financial aid. Simple as that. I have some favorites from personal experience, but there's also a statistic that you can look up. When you see these big books that you find in the libraries and Barnes and Noble, there's a statistic called percentage of need met. Remember our formula 20 minus 8 equals 12? If the school gives you $12,000 in financial aid, they have given you 100% of your need. They have met 100% of your need. If they give you $6,000, they've met 50% of your need. Private schools, because they are better funded, okay, they have a lot more money to give out. State schools are government funded. They are funded by your tax dollars. What does that tell you when I say that? Right off the bat. They're broke, right? There's no money, right? You are not going to get a lot of money from state schools. I'm telling you that right now. And that's why they're also half the price of a private school. An in-state state is half the price. There's not a lot of money there. You always hear about budget cuts and, we're cutting financial aid, this, that, and the other thing. New Jersey, by the way, happens to be a very good, if you fall into certain categories, very good financial aid state. very expensive school state, but they make up for financial aid to a certain degree. Okay, so because of that simple fact, more often than not, in the competition between schools, more often than not, you can attend a private school for the price of a state school. In your folders, you have 3 award letters. Okay, they're all from the same student, Kristen. Okay, they're from University of Delaware, Ithaca, and Boston University. Now, I always recommend that my clients apply to an in-state state school. But I worked with Kristen's family for a couple of years, and we knew, because of the work we did, we knew she was a very good student. She fell into certain categories financially. She was going to get a lot of money. Okay, so she really didn't have to, apply to an in-state state school. But let's say she applied to Rutgers. Rutgers, $23,000. A fair assumption would be Rutgers would have given her $5,000 in financial aid. Okay, 23 minus 5 equals 18. So it would have cost Kristen $18,000 to go to Rutgers. Everybody follow that? Okay, now let's look at Ithaca. All right, Ithaca is a $44,000 school. Okay, they gave Kristen $20,000 in financial aid. So it cost Kristen $24,000 to go to Ithaca. Everybody see that? All right. Let's look at Delaware. Delaware claims their price is $30,000. Well, I'm telling you it's more. I know for a fact it's more. I've had clients that went there. Let's use the example. $30,000. They gave Kristen about $6,400. So it cost her a little bit over $23,000 to go to University of Delaware. Okay? Let's look at Boston University. $51,000 school. They gave Kristen $36,000 to go to Boston University. You think they wanted her at that school? $15,000 are out-of-pocket costs. Okay? This happens more times than it does not. All right? I have several of these, but the pop quiz. You know what's the least expensive school? Boston University, right? Out of the 4 that we talked about, 18 at Rutgers, 24 at Ithaca, about 24 at Delaware, 15 at Boston University. How many? Simple fact, all right? This happens more times than it's not wishful thinking. It's not a pipe dream. It happens. It happens more times than you would think. How many of you, by a show of hands, and you don't have to raise your hands, obviously, but I know for a fact most of you are going to answer this yes. How many of you have said to your son or daughters, don't even bother looking at that school. The price tag is too much. Don't look at Boston University. It's over $50,000. Can't even go there. Don't even bother looking. Okay? It happens. More times than not, it happens. Why? And that's why you hear about the enrollments at Montclair State and Rutgers and Ramapo. They're going through the roof, right? Because of this simple reason. Parents are just, they're not informed. They're not getting the right information. They think because the price tag is less, it's going to cost them less. It's not the price tag, it's the price you pay. Never discount a school because of its price tag. Suppose Kristen's father, she's at Boston University, by the way. Suppose Kristen's father said to her, forget about it, don't even look at Boston University. You have to go to University of Delaware. Almost $8,000, right? A year, times at least 4. You would have lost $32,000. And you had a stockbroker that lost you $32,000. You'd fire him, right? Kristen can't fire her dad. But you get what I'm saying. All right? Don't discount the school because of its price tag. All right? Now, the second part of this is, let's say that Kristen really loved University of Delaware. Loved it. All right? Had her heart set on it. And I'll be the first one to say we can talk about money all we want. Reality is you all want your son and daughter to be happy. You do. You want them to go to the school of their dreams. Suppose University of Delaware was the school of their dreams. Money has to take a backseat at some point, because if she goes to Boston University and she's miserable, you force her to go to, William Patterson. She's miserable. She's going to drop out. Hopefully she'll transfer. She may never go back, right? If she drops out, gets a job, who knows? you'll lose more money in the end. All right? You want her to be happy. So, let's say the University of Delaware was her favorite school. $8,000 more than Boston University. Is it worth it to you to spend $8,000 more a year to send your son or daughter to their school of their dreams? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 15? You have to start thinking in these terms because it is a decision that you are going to have to make. You are going to have a line in the sand and say, well, if Boston University doesn't give us a certain amount of money, you can't go. Because we all know that, nobody raised their hand, you can't write the $50,000 check. So there has to be a point where you can say, oh, you can't go. Oh, your son or daughter is going to tell you, oh, I'll take out all the loans myself, Mom and Dad. They will tell you that because it's happened in my office. So $50,000 times at least 4. Think your kids are going to be okay in life with starting their whole life out with $200,000 in debt? Think they're ever going to be able to buy a house? So that's not what you want. You have to start thinking about that. What's the number? Second part of this, what's the most expensive school that Kristen could have went to? I'm going to tell you it's University of Delaware. I know the numbers say it's Ithaca, but I'm telling you it is going to be University of Delaware. Your out-of-state state schools, your Delawares, your SUNYs, your University of Connecticut, your University of Massachusetts, your UConns, Rhode Islands, Penn States, Marylands. These out-of-state state schools are going to be the most expensive schools that you can go to, out of pocket, bar none. Why? Government funded, number one. They're not going to give you money. I'm telling you that right now. They're not going to get, unless you have a fantastic student. They're not, and if that's the case, you're going to get more money from a New Jersey school anyway. Number two, the money that they give out is going to be for an in-state student. You hear it all the time. And I'm not going to be the only one to tell you that. They'll tell you, oh, money's for, that's what it's for. That's what state schools are for, to keep the best and brightest in state. There's a big article in the newspaper, the Bergen Record, a few weeks ago about how New Jersey's given a lot more money. What is that? I thought I turned it off. They're giving a lot more money to keep the best and brightest in the state. There's a big controversy over that because they want to give the people think that they should give the money to the need-based rather than the merit-based. I'm not going to get into the arguments about that. But, the money is for in-state students. Thirdly, Delaware's are already about $10,000 more than Rutgers. $10,000. Can anybody in their right mind seriously tell me that Delaware is worth $10,000 more a year than Rutgers? I won't believe it. You may think so, but I won't believe it. And that's your prerogative, and that's okay. It's your money, but $10,000 times at least 4.